Oi, boa tarde. Soy Nico.
It's unfortunate that people can change something that was just pure innocent fun into drama.
And today we are here for another wonderful week's worth of content. I'm going to try to hold my microphone here so that you can get the best audio because I tried clipping it on my t-shirt and somebody said I sounded like my voice was in a box. So today we're going to be going over some more performers. And also, once again, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for more exclusive videos, weekly lives, and be a part of the live streams that happen twice a week on Thursdays. That sounds interesting to you? Definitely tune in. Now, let's get started. I know I took a little break. I only posted one video this week, well, last week, because it was my birthday, and now I'm working in Brazil, so I am boom, 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 boom on the go and frequently tired, but we're here to get out this week's worth of content. Today, we're unfortunately going to be talking about another sketchy situation, this time revolving around the Real Tatted, aka RealHoodBottom. I'm just going to call him RealHoodBottom for short, because I'm not going to remember all the tatted with the threes, and the boy in the pic. So this is the first time I'm hearing from Real Tatted Bottom. That's why I'm kind of leaning on this might be true, but I do know of boy in the pic. So before we get on this story, let's just have a little flashback to boy in the pic. He's one of those performers where I've never necessarily heard amazing things about him. I do have some friends that do vouch for him, saying that he's on the up and up and that he's a good performer. So I'm not going to sit up here and smear his name because I've heard mixed reviews. But I do know when I covered that story about the performer that got into the industry at like 17, he basically said that he got into the industry because of the boy in the pic. They were dating when he was 17. The boy in the pic was a little bit older, and that he got him into the filming industry, and that's how he blew up on OnlyFans and or the adult porn sites. Now, that's the most history I have on the boy in the pic personally, because once again, I don't know the man personally, and I've heard mixed reviews whether you should work with him or if you shouldn't. Today, we're going to be talking about RealHoodBottom's experience with him and how basically this all unfolded. So, RealHoodBottom basically went online and said, so I think that I was just slipped something within a blunt by one of the performers that I worked with, and I'm unsure if I should handle this street law or go to actual law enforcement. What do you guys think I should do? And from there, he came back even angrier, saying, and since the performer feels like he was hit, he blocked me, so I'm just going to put you on blast. He then accused the boy in the pic of putting something within the blunt that they smoked together that he was unaware of, that made him slowly begin to feel uneasy and weird, and when he left to catch his flight back home, he allegedly had 3 seizures on the plane back home. From there, he said it was him for the sole purpose of not only he blocked him once he made that statement on the timeline without actually naming names, because he said nobody or alluded to anybody, but then he had blocked him right after he had tried to get in contact with him again to meet up later that night. So he was saying it was all too weird, and what he's saying to basically emphasize that this actually happened is that he reached out to Pleasure Studios. Nico, who is that? Pleasure U Studios is essentially an OnlyFans / adult site company that basically finds either straight men, DL men, or butch queens to come together and make content. And from there, he's kind of like a production part of the industry. But as of late, he's recently got in front of the camera and tried to become a performer of his own. So he's kind of like in the middle. Basically, he told RealHoodBottom that the boy in the pic always puts something extra in his marijuana. And that's probably what happened, and that he should probably be careful going forward smoking and or linking with him. And I will say that adds validity, because when I was looking up these performers, I saw that they had both been in multiple scenes together with Pleasure U Studios, meaning that they're all familiar together, but unfortunately Pleasure U did not make a comment on this, and the boy in the pic tried to handle things behind the scenes, basically unblocking him and DMing him, hey, why are you trying to smear my name? And the RealHoodBottom basically said, I'm not smearing your name. You know you're messed up for what you did, and I don't think it's okay that you just tried to do that without alerting me that there was something extra in the blunt. And this is a warning I want to give everybody, because this isn't strictly a performer thing. I don't want people to think just because I covered this story and then Jacoby's situation with Castro Supreme last week that every performer is doing underhanded, slighted things. I remember when I first started smoking, because half of my family big potheads, the other half very professional. My mom would always warn me, because she would say that one of our family friends, her child, went out to go smoke with his homeboys, and he didn't know there was something extra in the blunt. And from there, he had multiple seizures and was rushed to the hospital, where he actually suffered brain damage. So I knew this guy. He went from a regular teenager in Texas to somebody that was having difficulties just sitting up straight and or having full conversation. So I always warn people, smoking marijuana isn't necessarily dangerous, especially if you're in a state where it's legal and you can just buy it from a store. But when you're in states that it's illegal and you're having to go through multiple plugs and or smoking with people you're unfamiliar with, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. For me, for example, before I moved to New York, where marijuana is legal, any weed that I would buy would be through one of my friends who is a pothead that had smoked their plugs supply before I actually got my hand on it. Just because I would rather be safe than sorry. So once again, this is all alleged by the Real Hood Bottom. He's basically saying that the boy in the pic tried to slip him something in the blunt, and then it was verified by Pleasure U Studios that he tends to do this often. But from there, I'll leave the conversation up to y'all, especially seeing as how the boy in the pic blocked him without him ever naming him as the culprit prior. So that's why I'm thinking it's leaning on possibly happening. But with all the information that we have here, I'll leave the rest up to you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Woo!